after stumbling into the high-grass kill zone of a fully grown Bengal tiger. 42-year-old wildlife photographer Markus Henderson found himself trembling in the mud, convinced he was about to witness a brutal slaughter. But what the 400-pound predator did next is shocking the entire scientific community and redefining everything we know about the laws of nature. It all started 7 months earlier in the dense, humid jungles of Ranthambore National Park, India. Markus, a veteran documentary filmmaker who has spent over 2 decades tracking apex predators, was on a solo expedition near Zone 4, a region known for its aggressive tiger population. He was testing a new long-range directional microphone and a prototype thermal imaging camera. The jungle was eerily quiet that morning, the kind of silence that usually screams of death. Through the mist, Markus spotted a tragedy. A poaching snare had claimed the life of a tigress, leaving her 3-week-old cub shivering alone in the underbrush. Markus knew the rules. He could not intervene. Nature is cruel, and a cub without a mother is simply food for the next predator. He adjusted his lens, preparing to capture the inevitable heartbreaking end of the tiny creature. The cub let out a high-pitched, desperate mew, a sound that usually summons death in the wild. And, as if on cue, the brush parted. But it wasn't a leopard or a pack of wild dogs that emerged. It was a female chital deer. In the wild, the chital is the primary food source for the Bengal tiger. This deer should have bolted the moment it smelled the predator, even a young one. Instead, the doe, who Markus would later name Luna, did something that made Markus check his camera settings to ensure he wasn't hallucinating. She lowered her head. She sniffed the shivering, striped ball of fur, and then, defying millions of years of evolutionary instinct, she lay down. She didn't run. She didn't stomp. She curled her body around the cub, offering her warmth to the very animal born to kill her. Markus filmed for 6 hours straight, his heart pounding against his ribs. He watched as the cub, confused but desperate for survival, accepted the deer as its mother. This was the beginning of an impossible family, but Markus knew this fairy tale had a grim expiration date. Tigers grow fast. Their instincts are hardwired for violence. It was only a matter of time before the cub's biological programming overrode this unnatural bond. Markus left the park that day with the footage, but he was haunted by a single question. What happens when the killer wakes up? He returned to the site every month, obsessively documenting their lives. The footage he captured over the next half-year was mesmerizing. He watched the tiger, now named Raja, grow from a clumsy ball of fluff into a muscular 100-pound juvenile. The dynamic was bizarre. Raja would tackle Luna in play, wrapping his paws around her neck, mimicking the kill bite. Every time Markus watched through his 400mm lens, he flinched, expecting the play to turn deadly. He expected the snap of a neck, but every time, Raja would stop, retract his claws, and groom the deer's ears with his rough, sandpaper tongue. The cognitive dissonance was overwhelming. Raja was becoming a lethal machine. Markus filmed him hunting small lizards and birds, displaying perfect predatory precision. Yet, when he returned to Luna, the killer vanished, replaced by a gentle purring son. But the real test, the moment Markus had been dreading, came 8 months later, during the scorching heat of May. Markus was stationed in a camouflage blind near a watering hole. The drought had forced all animals to the same shrinking pools of water, creating a powder keg of tension. Luna and Raja emerged from the tree line. Raja was now substantial, his orange and black coat rippling with muscle. He was no longer a cub. He was a teenager with teeth like daggers. As they drank, the atmosphere shifted. The birds stopped singing. The wind died down. From the opposite side of the clearing, a massive male tiger emerged. This was Scar, the dominant alpha of the southern zone, a 600-pound monster with a torn ear and a reputation for cannibalizing younger males. Scar locked eyes on them. In the brutal calculus of the jungle, this was an easy double meal, a rival young male to eliminate and a deer to eat. Markus gripped his camera, his knuckles white. This was it. The laws of nature were about to assert themselves. Instinct dictated that Raja should run. A subadult tiger stands no chance against a dominant alpha. Survival instinct says, flee and live. And the deer was dead weight. Scar roared, a sound that vibrated in Markus's chest cavity and charged. He covered the ground in terrifying explosive bounds, heading straight for Luna. She froze, paralyzed by the ancient fear of the apex predator. Markus closed his eyes for a split second, unable to watch the slaughter. But the sound of tearing flesh didn't come. Instead, a deafening, defiant roar shattered the air, a roar that didn't belong to the alpha. Markus snapped his eyes open to witness the impossible. Raja had not run. He had intercepted the charge. The smaller, younger tiger had thrown himself directly into the path of the 600-pound monster, taking the full force of the impact to shield his dear mother. It was suicide. It was madness. It was love. The collision was violent. Dust exploded into the air. Raja was thrown back, bleeding from a gash on his shoulder. But he scrambled to his feet. Instantly, he didn't retreat. He stood his ground, placing himself physically between the alpha and the deer. He bared his fangs, his ears pinned back, his tail lashing furiously. He let out a sound that Markus described later as demonic protection, a guttural, vibrating growl that signaled he was willing to die right there. The alpha, Scar, paused. In the animal kingdom, fights are calculated risks. You fight for territory, you fight for mating rights, you fight for food. You do not fight for a different species. This behavior was alien. It was confusing. The alpha looked at the bleeding young tiger, then at the deer cowering behind him. The young tiger wasn't displaying submission. He was displaying a suicidal rage. For a tense, agonizing minute, the two predators stared each other down. The heat was suffocating. Markus held his breath, his camera capturing the standoff in 4K resolution. Then, slowly, the alpha broke eye contact. The risk of injury against this insane, rule-breaking youth wasn't worth the meal. Scar huffed, turned his massive head, and walked away into the shadows. Raja didn't relax until the alpha was gone. Then he turned to Luna. He didn't chase her. He didn't attack her in the heat of the adrenaline. He limped over to her, blood trickling down his leg, and nudged her flank with his head. And then, in a moment that brought tears to Markus's eyes, the deer began to lick the tiger's wound. Markus released the footage to the world last week. It has since been viewed over 50 million times. Dr. Sarah Mbeki, a leading ethologist from the Global Wildlife Institute, stated after viewing the raw files, "This footage baffles science. We teach that biology is driven by survival of the fittest, by selfish genes. But this is altruism across species lines. It suggests that emotional bonds can override millions of years of evolutionary hardwiring. It forces us to rewrite the textbooks." Markus ended his documentary with a simple voiceover as the drone shot pulled away, showing the tiger and the deer walking side by side into the sunset. He said, "We often look at nature to see the reflection of our own violence. But perhaps, if we look closer, we can see that compassion isn't just a human invention. It is the deepest, most universal language of life. If a tiger can break the rules of nature for love, what excuse do we have?"